Alright, I had a request to do another video on the 71 satellite project. I know I haven't showed you guys a whole lot of what's going on with this for a little while, but I had a lot of questions about removing the oxidation from the paint of the car, and as you can see here, it's kind of foggy and kind of almost has a layer of white on top of it is what it looks like. And this is an area that I already worked a little bit. Might not be easy to see on camera, but it really brought a lot of the color back. And I was just going to do a quick spot and show you guys what I do as a process. And everybody's going to do something a little bit differently. And the method I'm using is a little bit aggressive, but all you're going to need is a spray bottle of water, or you could use just a garden hose if it's easier. Just a shop rag and your sandpaper of choice. I'm going to be using 2500 grit, and this will just smooth out the paint and it'll take the top layer of oxidation off of it. So you're just going to get the area you're working with all wet, and get your sandpaper and just kind of start going in a crosshatch pattern. And once your sandpaper starts to kind of stick and not slide as easily, obviously add more water. And this will get rid of the paint particles that you've removed already. All you can do is just kind of go one direction and then switch to the other direction and repeat. And you could do just a panel on a car if it's looking dull, or do the whole thing in this case. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are probably wondering, well, what do you do about the rust? What do you do there? Well, that I was a little curious about myself. I didn't really know what the best way to do that was. But I just tried the method I just showed you on the rust. And you can't see it on camera, but I did this whole area and you can hear it's not all rough versus an area I didn't do up here, which is all rough, and I haven't done that yet. And I just did the same method here, and if you were wanting to, you probably could use a little bit more aggressive grit on the surface rust areas. It doesn't remove the surface rust, but it smooths it out and makes it look nice. And that's kind of what that does overall. And then for better results and everything else, what you would want to have is you would want to have a block on the back of the paper, so you're not leaving streaks and fingerprints and everything else. But I was just trying to show you guys quick, so I can answer a couple of people who were wondering what method I was using, what I was using to get rid of the oxidizing. And as you can see, you can actually see the blue streaking off. And don't get worried about that, because, well, I suppose it depends on what car you have, but on this car, and I believe a lot of cars of the same era, are a single stage paint, so it's not a base clear where you could worry about you're going to go all the way through the clear and into the paint, and then you're going to end up with a dull look. Well, that's not going to be the case. I suppose you could go far enough to burn through some layers of paint, but overall I'm using a very fine grit, very not aggressive situation here. I'm just going to set that down, and then I'm going to spray this off, wipe it down, and see what we got. Like I said, this would be a lot easier if you had like a garden hose or something handy, because you could just spray it off quick. And then the perfect thing to do after this, after you get this rinsed off, and obviously after you dry it off, you're going to want to hit it with a compound or a polish or whatever you want, whatever you've used that works best. And this panel still needs a lot of work, even the areas that I sanded. It needs work, and it will need work, and it might look a little bit streaky, but after you hit it with a little bit of compound and polish or whatever your own preference is, it'll look that much nicer. And another one of the main purposes of doing this is not only to bring back a little bit of the color of the paint and remove the oxidizing, but the smooth finish of the paint. Because this is 2500 grit, this isn't a rough texture at all by any means. So it'll leave you a nice smooth finish that if you were to hit it with a little bit of rubbing compound and then maybe a fine cut and then a final polish, it'll turn out really nice, I believe. And as you can see, this test spot I did here, I don't know if you guys can see differences on camera in the sunlight here, but this area all in here was wet sanded and then hit with the main compound very lightly just by hand. And I believe you could do this to the whole car with an actual machine, which I have, and the finish on the car itself would be far, far better than it is. And the only challenge I'm running into with doing this is in these transition points. I haven't found a way to make this transition smooth, because I can make this area smooth and I can make this area smooth, but where it transitions, I haven't been able to get great results there. But at the same time, you look around at the rest of the car, it's missing a fair amount of paint, and it's got that patina look that a lot of people like. So it all is kind of dependent on what you as a person want in the car and what you like. So, but we're going to go ahead. I'm not going to do a whole lot of this today, but we're going to go ahead and do what I just showed you to the entire car, top to bottom, and then hit it with a compound, and then with a fine cut, and then with a final polish. And I believe that that should work out very well. And I can show you the compound that I use, and everybody has their own opinions and their own brands that they like. But this is what I use as the first step. And actually, I could do a little test spot for you just to show you that it really does make a difference. Just put a little bit on there. That's a little bit too much, but it happens. Grab your rag. I know this isn't perfect conditions. This has a little bit of wetness to it, but all you're doing is just rubbing it in and getting the compound into the paint and working. Switch hands so I can do it better for you. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but here is kind of the before, and this area here I just did. So, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera in the sunlight, but it does make a pretty big difference. And beyond that, I was talking about how smooth the paint gets with the sanding. The compound brings it that much further. And then you go on to a fine cut and then a final polish, and I'm not going to guarantee any results, but this thing is going to be very nice and very smooth. So that's how I'm getting rid of the oxidation on the paint. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Let me know what you guys have done in the past, because I'm always open to trying different things, trying different methods that people tell me about. So yeah, just let me know what you think. And quick update on the project itself. I have sourced front seats and rear seats, and I'm getting vinyl dye for the lower door panels. As you can see in the back, that panel has faded from blue to green, and that was a common problem on this color interior car. So that's kind of an update on the getting rid of oxidation on your 50-year-old car paint, I suppose you could call it. And I guess that's pretty much it. We picked up the rear seat and front bucket seats, and I'm in the process of getting a deal done on blue seat covers for these seats. And like I said, I'm getting vinyl dye for the lower door panels. And I have carpet that I purchased that is being shipped right now. So coming soon, we're going to have one, maybe two interior videos on the car. So I guess stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button if you want to. It doesn't really matter, but I do appreciate it. And if you want to hit that subscribe button, once again, you don't have to, but I do appreciate it. So anyways, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one.